So living on the Mesa in Santa Barbara, California is an absolutely wonderful experience. I know I lived there for about 6 years while I was at Santa Barbara City College. It's great for sunsets, beach walks, activities outdoors, plenty of parks, and a great commercial district with restaurants that are really delicious, tons of friendly people. So I'm going to take you on a full tour of the Mesa, and we're starting in the office here because I want to use the map to give you the lay of the land of the neighborhood itself, because it's actually broken into 4 parts and then subparts from there. So I really want to get you familiar with how the Mesa is laid out, what the features are of that community, what are the homes like, what can you expect to find if you're shopping for a home on the Mesa, or maybe even a condo, a second home, whatever it may be. I'll give you a taste of what the real estate's like on the Mesa, what the schools are like, and also what is the commercial area like. So be sure to stick around to the very end, because I will be taking you into some of my favorite establishments over on the Mesa. So without any further ado, I'm gonna bring you into the map and show you exactly what I'm talking about when the Mesa is divided into 4 areas. I'm Joe Parker with the Santa Barbara Group, Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate, Home Services, California Properties, right here in Santa Barbara. I love selling real estate to all my friends, all my clients, everybody who reaches out to me, who watch these videos. I make them for you so you can understand my hometown and get to know it better and find out what is the perfect neighborhood for you. And in today's video, all about the Mesa, one of my favorite spots in Santa Barbara, definitely one of the most popular neighborhoods in town. I'm gonna give you everything you need to know to make you an expert on the Mesa so you can determine if it's the place for you. So the Mesa right here on the coast, I'm gonna just drive right down into Santa Barbara on this map here. And as everything starts to populate, you'll see that the Mesa is actually divided into 4 quadrants. And the center of it, I'm gonna take us right to the center of this 4-quadrant area, right here at Cliff Drive and Meigs Avenue. So Carrillo Hill comes over from downtown Santa Barbara and drops into the Mesa. And you land right in the Mesa's commercial district, which at the end of this video, I want to take you through there, because you really, if you live on the Mesa, you don't have to leave. They've got a ton of restaurants to choose from, almost every type of food you could ever want, and it's all really delicious. Plus great grocery stores, coffee shops, the list goes on and on and on. So right here at this intersection is kind of the divide. And what happens is, everything below Cliff Drive is on the ocean side of Cliff Drive. That's where you really get that walkability to the beach, to all the steps that lead down to the beaches, the parks. All these things become very walkable when you're on the ocean side of Cliff Drive. And Meigs, which drops right down from, let me see if my cursor is green so it kind of blends in, because that's another thing about the Mesa. Tons of parks, tons of open space, which is great for those who love outdoor activities. But right here, you can see Meigs continues right down towards the cliffs and the ocean here. So on the right side, or the east side of Meigs, you'll find the Marine Terrace neighborhood, probably one of the most popular parts of the Mesa. On the left side, we have another area which ends over by the Douglas Preserve, Mesa Lane Beach. It's a little bit of a different vibe, and it's also in a different school attendance area. So historically, it's felt a little bit different, but those differences I've noticed have changed, and we'll get into that more whenever I take you actually out into the neighborhood. We're not gonna stay here at the desk the whole time. And then we also have the places that are above Cliff, which produce great ocean views. They have some larger lots and less density there. And again, on both sides of Carrillo, you've got 2 separate areas that are elevated kind of in the foothills above the Mesa, producing ocean views, but still on the Mesa. So that will give you an idea on how the Mesa breaks out, how it's quadrant off. And even in the Marine Terrace area, which is flanked by Santa Barbara City College, has a little bit of a different vibe as you get closer to City College. I'll show you that as well. So I'm ready to get out of this office and bring you on a tour of the Mesa. So follow me, let's go. This is gonna be awesome. We're over here on the Mesa right now. I am the upper Mesa area above Cliff Drive, over to the east of Meigs. This is this kind of ocean view, bigger home type of neighborhood. Not so walkable down to the beach, because you can see we're pretty far from the ocean down there, but a great spot if you want to pick up these wonderful ocean views. Again, really close to downtown Santa Barbara, the harbor, the pier, all right over there. But this section right here, really, really nice, because as you can see, a lot of these homes are Spanish style. They all have incredible views. They all, for Mesa standards, tend to be a little bit more modern, newer, a bit more spacious, and definitely less dense. As we get down into some of the other parts of the Mesa, you'll find that the lots can be a little bit smaller and your neighbors could be a little bit close, especially on some of the older ones that have been torn down and rebuilt much bigger. They maximize the amount of home on those smaller lots so they could feel even tighter. But up here, you get plenty of room. You just don't have as much accessibility to get down on the beach real quick. But again, jump in your car and it's only a couple minutes away. So this is a great spot if you want to get the views and be on the Mesa. Definitely consider something up here, more above Cliff Drive, up in the coastal foothills, if you will, of the Mesa. Now, I've come down off the hill. We were just up there, those beautiful homes with the ocean views. Great spot if you want to plop, you know, $2, $3, $4, $5 million on a killer pad. That could be the spot for you. Cliff Drive is one of these boundaries that divides this quadrant of the Mesa. So right behind my cameraman Santi here is Cliff Drive, and I wanted to show you as we get down lower what it's like looking up at this upper part of the Mesa neighborhood from down here on Cliff Drive, and remind you of the fact that Cliff Drive is one of these kind of main thoroughfares. It comes all the way over from the beginning of City College and to take you all the way down to Arroyo Burro Beach. That's the other end of the Mesa before you start making your way into Hope Ranch. So it's a great way to get across town. It can be a busy street. The homes that are located right here on Cliff Drive, they tend to be a little less expensive for Mesa standards because they're on that busier street. So these are some of the things that once you dive into the Mesa, if you've identified it as the place you want to live, you'll start to understand some of these nuances about the neighborhood. And Cliff Drive will also take you over to the commercial area where Cliff and Meg's meet. That's kind of the center of the quadrant that I was explaining back at the office that divides up the Mesa. And Cliff Drive will take you right over to that, and that's where you'll get all the restaurants and places like Lazy Acres and whatnot. I'll show you some of my favorites a little later on in the video, but let's get a little bit closer to the beach on this journey of the Mesa. I got a lot more to show you, so stick around. Now we're down on the Marine Terrace of the Mesa. I'm on La Marina, which is kind of a border where Marine Terrace turns a little bit different. What do I mean by that? Well, right on the other side over here is where it gets closer to City College, and I've noticed that the parking gets a little bit more intense. There's neighborhood parking permits for the neighbors or the residents that live here on the Marine Terrace because Santa Barbara City College, the neighbor, impacts this neighborhood a lot, and the closer you are to the school, the more that parking impacts it. So the density of people living from La Marina over, the amount of parking on the streets, there's definitely a change. I noticed something going on when that happens. But it's really an amazing spot and one of the most popular areas of the Mesa because of its proximity to the beach. You can see right down below me here is Ledbetter Point. When I was at City College, I lived over on Del Oro, and I used to skateboard to school all the time. And if I had free time, I'd bring this really long skateboard we made. It was out of a single slalom water ski. We put trucks on it and wheels, and I'd bring it up here and just ride down this hill and carve all the way down. Super fun. And pick up a board in the garage, go down to Ledbetter. I mean, really, the lifestyle here on the Mesa is unparalleled if you're into that kind of stuff, like going to the beach, skateboarding, kayaking, you know, all those things. Wonderful people. The Mesa has it all. And I was definitely living it up and living the Mesa lifestyle to the fullest when I was over at City College. But again, La Marina, Marine Terrace, there's all these great little homes in these wandering streets over here as you go to the east. These 1950s homes that were the originally built homes here, 2 and 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 and 2 car garages. There's a lot of original ones, but many of them have been remodeled now and have been upgraded. They start, if you find an original one, you could probably get into one for maybe about $1.5 million, kind of as a starting point, maybe a little lower, but that's usually about the starting point. And then some of the more upgraded ones can be as high as 2, 3, $3.5 million. If it has an ocean view or if it's down on Shoreline Drive, the price points can change completely. But continue with me, let's go look at a little bit more of the Mesa. Yeah, so La Marina here, great representation of homes on the Mesa. You see some of these original ones that have been fixed up, but they're still, you can tell they're the original size, just really dialed in. And then you get some of these, like this one here under construction, where they pop on a second story and totally redo the inside. And then you get another one here that's been completely redone with a lot of cool kind of farm style finishes. And then back to the original. Looks like it's got a nice newer roof, but it's these little ones that characterize the original neighborhood of the Mesa. This was just kind of military housing in the 50s when the Mesa wasn't super popular. Now, everyone could have just snatched up a bunch of these when they were only like $23,000. It would be amazing. And then these ones here, as we get closer to shoreline, we've got these really nice big ones, but you know, the locals aren't super excited about it. Some of them are a little grumpy about it. They call them McMansions. And there is some guidelines on how big of a house you could build according to your lot size, because some of these that squeezed in, like this one here, just a lot of the locals felt was just too big for the neighborhood and too big for the lot size. So it is a mix. You do have some of those nice big ones, but then you still have these tiny little original ones. These are really kind of cute and simple, and maybe becoming more popular again as people circle back to something more simplified and not needing such large amounts of square footage. Now these are the front row here on Shoreline Drive. These homes, most of them have all been redone and expanded. I think this is one of the only ones in this first section here. Actually, there's a couple here that are still original, but you can see what's in store for them in the future. At some point in time, I imagine they will be McMansionized and turned into something much more significant. And they even, some of these, they've dug down to put the parking down below, or at least somewhat down below to get the room. And these ones are right across the street from Ledbetter Point, one of the really fun right-hand point breaks in Santa Barbara that I used to sit in my classes at City College and be able to look at the waves from my desk. Pretty amazing. The Mesa has several awesome beach access points. Since it sits up above the ocean, you need steps to get down to the beach. They just rebuilt these steps here at 1,000 Steps. You'll find them at the end of Santa Cruz Boulevard. This is my first time on them actually since they rebuilt it. It's really cool. You got a little lookout zone here out to the ocean. You can see the steps come up here. They call it 1,000 Steps because there's a lot of steps. I do not think it's 1,000 though, but a great access point. I'll show you the other one over at Mesa Lane. That's another great access point down to the beach. So now we're gonna drive along Shoreline Drive so I can show you Shoreline Park. As we climb up here and get up on the Mesa, which means table in Spanish, and if you look at the geography of the Mesa, it looks like a tabletop, so that's kind of cool. As we get up here to the flat tabletop of the Mesa, we're climbing up above Ledbetter Point, just down below there. That's a great right-hand surf break. We're gonna get to the beginning of Shoreline Park. And one of the amazing things about the Mesa is the fact that there is so much park. It's kind of cocooned in park because you've got shoreline that flanks the whole, almost the entire length of the bluff front. All this great green grassy area, which is got picnic benches, you've got parking lots, there's even restrooms, a couple of different restrooms. Great place to walk the dog, great place to go for a run or just take a nice stroll yourself. You could often see animals out in the ocean like dolphins. If you're lucky, you might even see a whale spout. So this park is amazing, and there's also lots of other parks. This is the one that mostly everybody sees because if you take a drive in Santa Barbara and you're driving down Cabrillo Boulevard, it eventually turns into Shoreline Drive, the road that we're on now. So it's just natural that anytime you visit Santa Barbara, you're gonna drive the coast and you're gonna see this park here, which is very, very familiar to a lot of people. It even has this great little kids playground here and another bathroom and another parking lot. But the parks along the Mesa are intense. You've got places like the Douglas Preserve, Ealing's Park, La Mesa Park. So no shortage of open space to get out and get some outdoor activities with the kids or with the dogs, or just be out in nature on your own. I'm out in front of Washington Elementary School, one of 3 elementary schools on the Mesa. Over by City College, above it, you got McKinley, you got Washington here, and we'll head over towards where Monroe is, but 3 elementary schools on the Mesa, and I think they all have ocean views from their playground. Now we're at La Mesa Park, right on the border of that quadrant that divides up the different sections of the Mesa. You know, the commercial district's right up here. I'll be taking you there shortly. But this park is the little lesser known one, so I wanted to make sure you're aware of it, because as a local, a lot of the kids would come here for like pancake breakfast with their schools. You got a great park right behind us over here. Plenty of places to eat and picnic. And there's also a really cool bridge I'm going to show you that takes us into this other neighborhood, another cool spot over by Mesa Lane. This is one of the quadrants as well. So come follow me. Let's go check out the bridge. Another great feature about La Mesa Park is this cool little pedestrian bridge right behind me. It connects that section of the Mesa, one of the quadrants, closer into Mesa Lane. If you're living in that neighborhood and you want to come over to, let's say, Lighthouse Coffee up above us here, you can walk across that bridge, right across the park here, and up to the coffee shop. Get a croissant, get a coffee, sit down, enjoy the morning paper, maybe talk to a neighbor. It's a great lifestyle. And having features like this little pedestrian bridge that most people don't know about, is a great asset to the neighborhood. The bridge, I got a great memory on this. I once did the Santa Barbara Triathlon, which includes a run, and part of the run was running all the way the length of the Mesa from down at East Beach all the way up to Henry's Beach, and we went across this bridge right here. I remember getting off in the neighborhood and getting water handed to you, and it's just a really cool experience. And I hadn't been on this bridge in a while, so it kind of brought it all back. But if you come this way, I'll show you how it connects over with this neighborhood, which is another great little spot, another little feature of the vast expanse of the Mesa, not just one section, but multiple sections. Now we're over on the West Mesa area. This is part of that quadrant where if you came down Carrillo Hill off to the right, but below Cliff Drive along the bluff is this section of the Mesa. This is the section of the Mesa that you would be living in, and you would traverse that bridge if you wanted to get over to La Mesa Park or any of those restaurants or coffee shops over there. It would be a great way to go. You could see most of these houses are single level, still relatively modest, but from time to time you will see one that's been expanded, that has been remodeled and added onto. And there's other beach access points over here as well, the main one being Mesa Lane, where we're gonna head next, because it's a great beach, also a great little surf spot, and a really cool little corner of the Mesa that's adjacent to a big open space called Douglas Preserve. So West Mesa, Mesa Lane is kind of the pinnacle of it, in my opinion, because it's got this great beach access step here, another one of these step beach access areas that services getting down to the beach from the Mesa neighborhoods. But look at this cool little street. It's so quiet. You know, this is the street that if you just continue maybe about a half a mile that way, you're gonna get to that bridge, you know, and then so just all these cool little features of this neighborhood. And I spent a ton of time as a kid bodyboarding, hanging out at this beach with all my friends that lived on the Mesa, so it has a special place in my heart. Every time I walk down this path, it kind of brings back those moments. All right, so now Ealing's Park, another open space that's been preserved. This is an amazing park that has trails where you could actually get some hill climbing if you're a mountain biker. You know, a lot of our parks, you can mountain bike out there, but it's gonna be pretty flat. What I love about Ealing's is that they have a ton of trails where you could go up and down, get a lot of good exercise in, a lot of climbing in. They also have amazing amount of paragliding happening off this hill. Very windy day today, and if you're up there, you could see the wind flags or socks, whatever they call them, so you can see the direction of the wind, but paragliding happening here. There's also on the other side a dog park, baseball, soccer, BMX, way more than just what we're showing you here. Definitely check it out if you're interested in finding out about the parks, but the reason why I'm highlighting this is because it kind of flanks the Mesa. You could just see the Mesa over here, and down there is the Douglas Preserve with a few houses sprinkled in, and we're gonna go down to Henry's Beach and I'll show you that. But it's just so amazing that there's just so much open space all around the Mesa, and Ealing's Park is definitely one of the jewels, many jewels. It's like a crown, I guess, of parks. All right, we're out on the Douglas Preserve, one of the treasured assets of Santa Barbara and the Mesa neighborhood. When you're living on the Mesa, this is right in your backyard. People love coming here. Like I said, look at the trails. There's the ocean over there. Got dog walking out here. There's a few stations where you could get poop bags, trash cans. The trails are amazing. You got big eucalyptus trees, so you could get in the shade if it's a warm day. We chose a really unusually windy day to film, so you're getting to see the Pacific Ocean do its thing. It's like Victory at Sea out there. But This place right here, very peaceful, very nice, very tranquil. If you want to come for sunsets, you want to come for a morning walk, get your morning walking meditation on, and all the way over, it stretches until you get to Henry's Beach. And it's really cool because it ends right above Henry's Beach. You can look out and see the Boathouse restaurant down there, see all the dogs running on the beach. Really just a cool spot. So stoked that someone had the foresight to go ahead and buy this land and keep it preserved like so much of the open space in Santa Barbara. Bought and protected, preserved for all of us to enjoy. So we were just up on Douglas Preserve, right up there. That's the very end of it. And now we're back down on the beach. And this is Henry's Beach, also known as the Pit. You could surf out here, you could walk the dog. It's Santa Barbara's dog beach. And we also have the Boathouse restaurant right here. We're on the edge of the beginning of Hope Ranch, and this marks the end of the Mesa. Up there, the Mesa. Down here, the end of the Mesa. But this is a great way to mark it. And of course, it wouldn't be Santa Barbara, it wouldn't be a beach without a park. And this is no different. There is actually a park right over here connected to this beach, connected to this parking lot where you could sit down, have a picnic. I don't know why you choose to be in the park when you're right on the beach, but it is super cool and really nice. So you got options. You got lots of options when it comes to the Mesa, when it comes to Santa Barbara and Henry's Beach right here. When you make your way to Henry's Beach, be sure to find this secret little lookout. Behind the restaurant, you'll see these steps. It's made with all these cool beach rocks. You'll see some of them, might even still have shells in them. You got this really cool handrail. Most people don't know this exists, so this is the hot tip. You stuck around this long and I'm gonna reward you. Come check this out. So here it is, this cool little nest most people don't know about. What I love about it is that you get to watch the scene unfold. Henry's Beach turns into a scene at sunset. Like a ton of people show up. The sunsets are beautiful. You see all the dogs just having the time of their life. It's just really special. And to get up here and to watch it all unfold, usually by yourself, because not many people know about this, it's pretty cool. And what I like about it is it reorients you to all the magic the Mesa has to offer. Right up there, I'm looking at the Douglas Preserve, which we saw, and then I'm looking at Ealing's Park over there. It's just a really magical spot. And in fact, if you want to even get more adventurous, you could go off trail and head on up and even hike up higher. It's really cool. Okay, to reorient you, we are in another one of the quadrants on the Mesa. This is Alta Mesa. So this is that upper area above Cliff Drive, but over to the west. And this is, again, characterized because it's above Cliff Drive. Some of these homes have some really nice ocean views. You could see as we're driving down this hill that a lot of this neighborhood is built on a slant, so you get these kind of step ups and step downs in properties, which can also produce some views, but it can also make the yards a little less usable in some places. Another interesting thing about the Mesa is that there were a lot of oil rigs near the ocean and near some of these properties back in the day that were abandoned, and people have come across the old abandoned oil rigs, and it's caused some complications with plans they want to do with their homes. So maybe some extra investigations and things to look out for if you're shopping for a home on the Mesa. But these streets here, threaded with beautiful little homes, some of them fixed up, some of them still original, and all of them on the Mesa, a great place to live. Now we're gonna go over to the commercial area and show you some of the businesses and some of the restaurants and some of the shops, the grocery stores, all the stuff that makes the Mesa really convenient and fun to gather and hang out whenever you're going out for a bite or a drink. Earlier in the video, I was talking about the different price points you could expect if you're shopping for real estate on the Mesa. Now there are some condos and some townhomes, and there's this building here, which I think I've identified as probably the entry level for the Mesa. I think these come in 1 and 2 bedrooms, and you'll probably be able to get one for under $1 million if they were to come on. Kind of apartment style condos, but you're really close to basically across the street from the commercial area. There's higher density here. You do have some apartment buildings, rentals in the neighborhood, and you got a ton of great commercial establishments right over here, which we're gonna show you next. So the commercial area of the Mesa is the other part that makes it a really special place to live, because you could just walk right out your door or take a bike ride and go get breakfast, coffee, go shopping at the grocery store, pick up something for the house. So you got a lot of great options. I mean, you really don't have to leave the Mesa. And it's divided kind of in quadrants, just like the neighborhoods are, right at that point where they all separate. So this is probably the biggest section of the commercial area, which features things like Kuka's, an amazing taqueria where you can get gigantic burritos. There's also a Vaughn's in this shopping center. Mesa Cafe down there is really great for breakfast. So you got a lot of options in here. So Santa Barbara has a ton of farmers markets, which is great, and they're wonderful. It's a great part of the community, but they are time sensitive, right? There are only certain days and certain locations. Well, the Mesa has Mesa Produce. This is a farmer's market really that's open every day. Right behind me here, this is where you can find a lot of the local produce you'll find in the farmer's market, plus some extra special things. And today we're actually filming, it's Valentine's Day, so they have the flower cart with fresh cut flowers. It actually smells amazing. You can really smell all the flowers, but this is organic, it's local, and it's a super cute little business establishment here on the Mesa. Okay, another section, this little strip of commercial spaces here has some restaurants, and this icon here, Mexican food icon OG Rose's Cafe. The locals love it. I love it. It's really a great spot. Weekends as well, come for brunch. Really, really nice. And they did a great job with the parklet. I like the vibe right here. It's a good restaurant. You definitely want to put it on your list. So this is probably the most cherished and well-loved grocery stores in town. Definitely on the Mesa. Lazy Acres right behind me here. I love going in there. They have a poke bar. You could get poke, build it yourself. Really nice. Great organic meats. You know, if you want to barbecue, their fish counter is incredible. So it's expensive, like a lot of these kind of more high-end grocery stores, but the selection and the quality is second to none. And I love the fact that you could go in there and get food on the fly, like for lunch. They have a hot bar, they have the salad bar, they got the bakery counter. So really great spot. Definitely check it out. And in this shopping center right here, Lighthouse Coffee. That's probably the most popular coffee shop in town, and it's just right over there. So booming with people, great place to go hang out and you know, interact with the community. All right, everybody, the sun is setting. That's your tour of the Santa Barbara Mesa. I loved showing it to you. I hope you learned a lot. I wish you could see these mountains turning all pink and purple and just majestic, so nice. So if you want to learn more about the Mesa, finding the perfect home for you, reach out to me. I make these videos to help you guys understand more so you can get to know the neighborhoods and get to know me. I'm getting contacted all the time actually from people from these videos. It's really starting to take off, so it's motivating me to make more. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks for watching. Joe Parker with the Santa Barbara Group at Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate, California Properties Home Services right here in Santa Barbara.